So the next step of the anti-vax agenda is now upon us. What I'm referring to is the FDA is actively stunting the review of new vaccines, vaccines that are revolutionary in many ways. For example, this article we're about to cover, and this is just one case that I feel like we're going to be seeing a lot now. Moderna says FDA refuses to review its application for experimental flu shot. Now, this flu shot, like I said, is revolutionary in many ways. In testing, it showed a much higher immune response to what you're vaccinating against. It has a wider range of of the flu strain that it can actually protect you against, and among other things. And it's getting they're putting a complete stop to it and not giving much of any reasoning at all. Now, we're going to read this article, and I'm going to give you some cold hard facts about vaccines and the studies on them, and are they dangerous? Or what do the actual studies say? Is there any truth to what these anti-vax fucking morons spew? We'll find out. But I think you already know the answer if you're, have any shred of intelligence. So let's go ahead and get into this article. Again, Moderna says FDA refuses to review its application for experimental flu shot. The Food and Drug Administration has refused to start a review of Moderna's application for its experimental flu shot, the company announced Tuesday, in another sign of the Trump administration's influence on tightening vaccine regulations in the U.S. Moderna noted that the agency did not identify any specific safety or efficacy issues with the vaccine, but instead objected to the study design despite previously approving it. The company added that the move won't impact its 2026 financial guidance. Moderna's jab showed positive phase 3 data last year, meeting all of the trial goals. At the time, Moderna said the standalone flu shot was key to its efforts to advance a combination of vaccine targeting both influenza and COVID-19. So it protects you from several strains of influenza, and even shows like effective in what they call vaccine drift. So vaccine drift. Jesus Christ, virus drift, which I assume is kind of like how viruses mutate and they're always changing. So it not only does it have a broad coverage to begin with, like it's also almost like adaptive in a weird way. So in a letter signed by Prasad on February 3rd, he said that the sole reason why the FDA refused to review the application was because of how the clinical trial on the shot was designed. The agency specifically took issue with Moderna's decision to compare its product to a standard approved flu shot, arguing that it does not reflect the best available standard of care. The fuck does that even mean? What do you want them to compare it to? Jesus Christ. As a result, the FDA said that the study did not meet its definition of an adequate and well-controlled trial. Moderna disputes that reasoning, noting that the FDA rules and guidance do not actually require trials to use the most advanced or highest dose of the vaccine as a comparator in clinical studies. Moderna says it expects the earliest approval for its flu shot to be late in 2026 or late 2027, pending regulatory reviews in the US, Europe, Canada, and Australia. The FDA said it does not comment on regulatory communications to individual sponsors. So they're like, no habla English. Sorry, we can't give you any more information. Like, you're kind of fucked. It's just so dumb. It blows my mind. Like, notice how they are tightening regulations for vaccines, not because they actually care about the safety or efficacy of vaccines. It's because they are proudly and openly anti-vax. Like, they fucking nuked the vaccine schedule, and like they're trying to push this narrative that vaccines cause autism, which we'll get to that here in a moment. But it's crazy how Republicans seem to they seem to hate regulations unless they can use them, weaponize them against things that they don't like. For example, what we're seeing right now with vaccines. Some other examples are like porn and NSFW content. Republicans are like, they're real sketched out about porn and all that. So that's why you see apps like websites like Pornhub, like just shutting down and just denying access to entire states because Republicans in that state like passed legislation saying like, hey, if you want to wank off, you're going to need to show us some photo ID. And of course, there is also like what we're hearing with Discord now, where you're going to need to like show photo ID to see NSFW content or mature content or whatever. And then abortions. So they use regulations to kill abortions. Like if you ever look up the regulations that they try to throw for abortion clinics and like any facility that does abortions, they add the weirdest shit. Like the ceiling must be this many feet high and that corner must measure at this degrees and that angle. It's fucking nonsense. And of course, the voting, they want to verify your citizenship now, or no mail-in voting, even though like even by your own think tanks there is no widespread voter fraud, like at all. We're talking like 1,000 cases since the 80s. Like insane. But when it comes to things like nuclear reactors, it's like we don't need to build them as safe, and we don't need to have as many regulations about pollution and the waste discarding, and same with just the pollution and of like dumping of shit in your water supply from major corporations. We don't care about that. Or regulating like how companies treat their workers. Like, no, we don't want any of that. Or, should we build that building in a safe manner? No, we don't want those regulations. So these people are just, they're maniacs, okay? Anyways, let's move on to some of the studies on vaccines. So this is specifically on, I believe, is this COVID? Yeah, COVID-19 vaccine. So one of the things that goes around is this myocarditis thing, that it causes myocarditis. Vaccine-associated myocarditis occurs in about 1 in every 140,000 vaccines after a first dose and rises to 1 in 32,000 after a second dose. For reasons that aren't clear, incidents peak among male vaccines aged 30 or below at 1 in 16,000 out of 1 in 16,750 vaccines. Fortunately, most of these cases end well, Wu said, with full heart function retained or restored. Recovery is typically swift. Now, yeah, be like, I don't want that to happen. That sounds scary. It's like, all right, you know what happens when you get COVID-19? You can get that same condition, but worse. But COVID is worse, he added. A case of COVID-19 is about 10 times as likely to induce myocarditis as an mRNA-based COVID-19 vaccination, Wu said. That's in addition to all the other trouble it causes, obviously. Next study I want to quickly go over. Death after the administration of COVID-19 vaccines approved by EMA. Has a causal relationship been demonstrated? More than 8 billion doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered globally so far, and 44.29% of people are vaccinated. That's several billion people. Remember, several billion people. There have been 55 cases of death after a COVID-19 vaccination reported, and a causal relationship has been excluded in 17 cases. In the remaining cases, the causal link between the vaccine and the death was not specified or considered possible, probable, or very probable / demonstrated. So what this is saying is there were 55 cases that, attempted to link a cause to being the COVID-19 vaccination. And when you look more into that, it's like, yeah, it was probably something else, and the timing of the vaccine was just unfortunate. That's why we're only seeing like 55 of these cases as opposed to like thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions. Because remember, there are billions of people who are vaccinated. And finally, these were both from NLM, NIH, National Library of Medicine, NIH. So like this is about as credible as you can get. So what's this? The myth of vaccination and autism spectrum. So the whole vaccines cause autism, and we're not going to review this all, but you can feel free to look at it yourself. But the gist of it, despite the overwhelming data demonstrating that there's no link between vaccines and autism, so the overwhelming data says there is no link. Many parents are hesitant to immunize their children because of their alleged association. That's just how dangerous, like, the rhetoric from these anti-vax freaks like RFK Jr. and the people he's now staffed the National Health and Human Services Department with, and of course the agencies that and the government agencies that fall into that category and fall under their jurisdiction. It's crazy and it's dangerous. Like, we're seeing measles outbreaks in several states, and it's the highest, like, since we quote unquote abolished measles. So this shit's dangerous, and you can't find a single study in the world that says, like, yeah, there's credible evidence that vaccines cause autism or they cause death, they cause whatever. Like, there's just nothing there. It's all fucking right-wing hacks just trying to fucking, I don't even know what their end goal with this shit is. But it's like everything else with the MAGA cult. It's a suicidal death cult. Like, so I guess it fits in. Anyways, that's all I have for this one. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.